welcome to Viyahta's Tiny House Village. I'm back with my partner, friend, lover, teacher, Michael,
Shalom, everybody.
and we're here to share some wisdom about the boot camp for peace. And we're talking about killing the appetite for death. Michael and I have very different backgrounds with our fathers and families. So, as we talk about killing the appetite for death, we want to first give you a little background of our own family experience with killing the appetite for death or not, or actually promoting the appetite for death, because both of our fathers served in the military, World War II. So we want to look at the army and the weapons of death and the bombs and guns that promoted the appetite for death in our fathers. So why don't you tell them a little bit about your father's appetite that he had as a veteran of World War II?
Well, he had an appetite for dead food, that's for sure. I mean, he loves his pork chops. He loved his steaks, his hot dogs, and all that stuff. Which and cooked food. But yeah, basically, he liked it. He liked it to be soft, so therefore you cook most of the food value out of it anyway. So it's pretty much dead. It just has flavor and taste, and so that's what you eat it for: the flavor and the taste, and of course, the feeling that it gives you in your gut. You get this full feeling. You feel satisfied, or you feel full, and then you stop eating. Okay, and so I could go and add to some more about the solution to
Well,
the
let's not
diet of
get there
death.
first.
Okay, right.
But
I'm not. Yes. I'm
yeah,
not.
because we want to just set the foundation,
Right.
how each of us were influenced
yeah.
by our fathers, for one.
Yes, ice cream and cake and all that good stuff. He loved pies, cookies. He always kept that kind of stuff around the house. Cake, all that stuff. So, and then he didn't drink a lot of soda, but he would have sodas from time.
Alcohol? Was he an alcohol?
He would drink beer only occasionally, once in a while. He wasn't an alcohol person, or drugs, or none of that. He never was off into that. I mean, but he did like to drink champagne. That was his drink, pretty much. I remember.
And your father died at what age?
94 and
94.
2014.
Look
yes.
at that. A year apart. My
Yeah,
father
yeah.
died at 95. So they both were born in the 20s,
Yeah,
mid 20s.
Yeah.
And my father was raised in New Orleans. And we were talking about the type of diet he had or not. My dad always said the question they asked their mother was not, what are we eating, but are we eating?
Mm-hmm.
And in New Orleans, gumbo was a popular dish. Why? Because they could get fresh fish from the Gulf of Mexico. They could get all those vegetables. My father's grandmother had a garden. So if you know about gumbo, whatever went into that gumbo was from the garden or from the ocean or from the Gulf of Mexico. That was it. They weren't buying a lot of packaged foods back in the late 20s, early 30s. So their diet, my father's diet at a young age was pretty healthy when they ate. So my father lived a young life from the age of, I'd say, birth to 9, of fasting and of eating fresh foods. So even though, and my father lived to be 95 with no major diseases, although he died, both of our fathers died of heart disease. Yeah. And we attribute that mainly to the relationships they had with their spouses, right?
Yes.
So we're being very careful about our relationship.
Yeah, definitely.
Because we learned a lot from our fathers and their relationship. His father was married 3 times. My father was married 3 times. So we compared a little of the type of relationship they had with these spouses. And there was a lot of conflict at the end of my dad's life with his spouse. His father divorced his spouse and he was angry, right?
Yes, he was
angry with her. So number one, killing the appetite for death is going to require a healthy attitude, mind, and body to recognize the death. So we were looking at how the war that he and his father and his sons entered into as draftees or volunteers, right?
Yeah, volunteers or draftees.
Okay, when we created this war in our governments in our countries that or had leaders that were psychopaths. Now, what are psychopaths? Psychopaths, as the definition goes, are egocentric, antisocial people who lack of remorse for one's action, absence of empathy for others, and criminal tendencies. Hello. Do we have criminal tendencies now in the 2023 wars of Ukraine and Russia, Palestine, Israel? I think it's all covered with criminal tendencies.
Yes.
A bunch of political maneuvering, lobbyists, money, criminal tendencies. So when we look at the boot camp for war, it's led by psychopaths. We agreeing on
Yes.
that. It's like psychopath. And then he and his father and his sons entered into that environment, and they learned about the appetite for war, appetite kill, appetite for death. Let's kill. I mean, look at all the weapons, not all the weapons, just basically bombs and guns that are created for the military. They're not planning to just let those hang on the wall. It's for death. It's for killing, right? So they were trained. Even the society has been trained to accept the boot camp for war. And we here in the Viyahta's Tiny House Village, we have created boot camp for peace. So we're going to go into some of the things spiritually, mentally, that have to deal with the battle we're in to kill the appetite for death. You want to add anything at this point?
Well, I was thinking about what you said about the weapons. It's a constant progression. And to me, even though I use the term progression, it's really, to me, a digression. But they are pursuing a progression of research and development, and a lot of times it's not research and development. It's already here. It's already in use. It's already in practice, and they practice it on the people. That's why you have a lot of this, what's going on in Palestine, where the common people, the common people are being murdered. I'll just put it like that. Because these new weapons of mass destruction, the ultimate, I'll say, purpose or goal of these things are to eventually be able to ward off what they suspect to be an alien invasion.
Now, they is who?
The powers that be, that control the media, that control governments. What would they call it? The hidden government, or the shadow? What do they call that? The shadow government.
Deep state.
Deep state. It's different
we
names.
We could say there's a Zionist at this point. I mean, the world's being educated on who the Zionists are right now. Yeah. So let's not be ashamed to say Zionists are running this military industrial complex. Oh, money. Yes. That's the criminal tendencies that are coming out right now from all these psychopathic leaderships, right? Yeah. So we're talking now about the diet the death diet that we have been trained and programmed to accept and utilize every day to bring energy to the body, satisfaction, soothe our emotions, comfort us, blah, 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 blah. And looking at the diet of, say, Michael's father, he had a lot of sugar, milk, cakes, bread, cabbage, eggs, meat, more grits, maybe orange juice. The orange juice was not fresh most of the time in his case. Right? Pasteurized orange juice, cereal, more juice, more pasteurized juice, and then coffee. Equal. You mentioned your dad like equal, artificial sweetener.
He made it his purpose to make sure that I understood only the blue label, which was equal.
Yeah. So his father, my father, began to be programmed, even though their youth might have been full of fresh vegetables from grandma's garden, fasting. and then gumbo, or even wild animals. My dad's family used to catch squirrel or possum, whatever was running around in New Orleans. They caught it and ate it. They cooked it. That was common. But think about that. No hormones put in the squirrels or the whatever they were eating animal wise.
Rabbit.
They were wrapped. They were fresh, fresh dead meat, right? So, and what did that create? We talked about they created comorbidities. Well, we heard that term a lot in the last 3 years because the people who were dying faster and more often from the COVID problem had comorbidities. What is that? Diabetes, heart disease, prostate issues, stroke, right?
Yes.
So that type of diet, the sugar, the cake, the cookies, and the orange juice, it led to comorbidities. That was the consequence of the dead food that we're trying to kill right now, kill the appetite for this dead food.
Okay, can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
How can you build live cells from dead food?
Good question. Thank you.
Yes.
That is the issue we are dealing with now, and why we feel there's a need to kill this appetite for death, because we all have this appetite for sugar, cakes, cookies, dead meat, cereal, oatmeal, all of those things that are overcooked and have no enzymes in them. Death. We have this appetite for death. We were raised in it. I had a lot of TV dinners. We had TV dinners that you popped in the oven and all dead, nothing live there. And then all the Hawaiian punch, we drank tons of Hawaiian punch, all dead. So much, and then just lots of meat and sugar and candy. Death. We developed an appetite for death.
Okay, can I say another thing too, in reference to what you were just talking about? As you were talking, I was thinking about, they also developed what they call the microwave, which could further kill the dead food that you're already eating.
Yeah.
I mean, kill it beyond a shadow of a doubt. And they used to use terms like, okay, nuke it in the microwave. So
So there's been a war within all of us humans to nourish the cells, feed the cells, but we've been feeding them with dead foods, and then more comorbidities develop, the cancer, the heart disease. And so we began to look at the word homeostasis. How do we get homeostasis? So what is homeostasis? I wrote down the definition here: relatively stable equilibrium between interdependent elements, especially as maintained by physiological process. So translation is having balance between the brain, the physical body, the organs, the cells, and the emotions. That's what homeostasis is: balance. Yeah. The key word there is equilibrium between interdependent elements. What are the interdependent elements? Your brain, your organs, your hormones. Interdependent. They don't work separately. They work together because it's a system. So our challenge, especially the two of us even, is to kill the appetite for death, to bring equilibrium between all the brain, the cells, the masters of this biological computer that's running our show here. So what did we turn to? In the early days, Michael and I both turned to things like wheatgrass, live juices, fresh veggies, fruits, soaked nuts, which are better, live foods, water. All of those things have life in them. Wheatgrass was so popular back in the 90s, I'd say.
Yeah, I said middle to late 90s. Yes, yeah. Wheatgrass was very popular.
So, but Ann Wigmore, who wrote the book about wheatgrass and who kind of introduced wheatgrass to our American way of healthy living, she always promoted that for healing anything. And there were so many testimonies of people being healed of cancer and all kinds of ailments, comorbidities, when they went on a wheatgrass primary diet of sorts. It always included live juices, maybe coffee enemas, fresh vegetable juices, big salads, soaked nut seeds. And that's the life we want to promote now. is more of that. How do we kill the appetite for death? We have to bring in the wheatgrass, which tasted just horrible. I know a lot of people, well, it's like eating grass. Well, yeah, it's live. You know what really impressed me living in my tiny house, not that one, that's the one I live in now, but living in my tiny house out in the country for 5 years, I watched the horses and grass all the horses eating
Mm.
grass all day long. They were grazing out in the field, eating grass all day, the heads down, and the
Mm.
cows, the same thing, eating grass. I'm like, how did those huge animals who are not, they're not carnivores, right?
Right.
They don't eat meat. They don't like a lot of junk.
Mhm.
Those cows and horses love grass. So,
Yeah.
and they're
Yeah.
huge. We watched a movie yesterday about Harriet Tubman. They're riding around on those horses. That's what saved them. The horses got them where they wanted to go faster. Back in Harriet Tubman's day, it was no cars. How'd they get out, get away fast? How did the slave master catch them? On horses.
Mhm.
Horses that eat grass for the most
Right.
part. Now and then they give them a little hay. That
Yeah.
would be bread for us, but the live food is where our strength is. So, how do we get back to homeostasis and kill the appetite for death? Well, one of the things we have to do is turn the TV off because the advertising for food is enormous and very influential and hard hitting, right? Every day.
Yes.
If you're watching regular TV, you're going to see a lot of food. And in fact, McDonald's will tell you you need to go right now and get a Big Mac and some fries, right? So we have to divorce ourselves. Divorce, that's what our
That's a
parents did.
good point. Yeah.
Divorce ourselves from the advertisements, magazines, everything. Even on Facebook, you're going to have ads. Even on when you're on YouTube or social media, there's always an ad for
Mm.
some food. So we have to consciously divorce ourselves from those things that are promoting an appetite for death. That means also not listening to mainstream media about this war, because the sad truth is our government doesn't want to cease fire because they love death. It's a reality we many of us are coming to, thank goodness. I was telling Mikhail, we can almost be thankful for this October 7th event that took place in the Middle East because people woke up. They started doing research about the Middle East conflict between the Palestinians and everybody's doing research now and coming to amazing truths and revelation. So we have to stop listening to mainstream media's interpretation, propaganda about needing to bomb, baby, whatever that song,
Mhm.
bomb. Somebody used to
Mhm.
sing that. So that's number one. Divorce yourself from media and anything that's promoting war and no ceasefire. So our government is part of the problem, because if you follow the government and you don't listen to conscious individuals bringing news to us, you're going to be convinced we need to bomb children and bomb countries and shoot people. I mean, when you went to Vietnam, did they tell you to hold back from killing anybody?
No, well, when we trained, we had to yell out, kill as you do your different moves. And what they call, movements. You had to yell that out.
So we realize we have come to that awareness, the two of us, that we've been programmed. We've been propagandized to think war is good, killing is good, and even dead foods are good. Because as Mikhail said earlier, dead foods create a drug effect in our bodies. Dead foods stimulating, especially meat now. Meat is very stimulating. All that dead juice coming from the cow and the horse and the pig and all, it's very stimulating. So it is like a drug. In fact, I would venture to say all dead foods, processed foods, are like drugs to us. And then when you get into things like wheatgrass, juicing, salads, fresh vegetables, fruit, your spirit comes alive, is what I have found. Your spirit comes alive. Otherwise, your spirit is kind of neutral in dormancy. Your spirit's in dormant. If you're eating dead food all the time, you're going to start creating heart disease, slow circulation, immune system failure, And we especially don't need that now, because even lately they're saying this mystery pneumonia is spreading in the United States. So now is the time, brothers and sisters, to kill the appetite for death, because the powers that be, the Zionists and our government, they all together are promoting death right now. Because if you hear anything about a mystery disease, that means fear. Fear is coming. Fear is here. They're going to promote the fear about the mystery disease. They've already been talking about it in China. If you missed my Friday show, Health and Wellbeing with Viyahta, go back 2 hour show on how you overcome pneumonia and strengthen your lungs. By the way, we learned this new technique right here. I want to just put that plug in. If you tap smack on this area of your body, you can strengthen your lungs and your heart.
That's right.
After every hamburger or dead meal, you should be going, all right, wake up now, wake up now, wake up now. We actually saw a video
wake
today.
That man up.
Yeah, we saw a video today from over in China where a man had a heart attack. And like 2 people were working on him, and all they were doing was both arms, slapping their arm in this area. So that's one of the tools to keep this function, this biological computer, this sacred temple, functioning while you're transitioning from death to life. When you have those live foods in you, this is not going to be necessary most of the time, unless the emotions are dead. You know what I mean? And I mean dead in terms of anger, bitterness, resentment, fear. And that's what's coming right now, is the fear. The fear is going to be promoted in the next few weeks, big time. They're building it up, and then they want a reaction. The virus, the pneumonia, whatever, they're promoting that now. Fear, fear, fear. Then they want a reaction from you, and that should be fear if you're a good slave and servant of the Zionists and the people running this whole show. But if you're not, you're going to respond with deep breathing, right? We're breathing deeply.
Breathing. Yeah, that's breathing in life.
And more light, like here, more time outside. We like to do these videos outside just to promote outdoor living, outdoor experience. So this is our message for you today. We want to make it fairly short, but it was really on our hearts and minds as we came together this weekend to talk about killing the appetite of death, because it's going to lead, if you don't kill it, it's going to lead to comorbidities, the heart disease, because it'll control you. When you get frustrated and anxious and depressed, you're not going to want wheatgrass juice unless that's a daily habit for you. But that wheatgrass juice, those fresh juices, those fermented foods, sauerkraut, live, living, fermented foods, those are going to wake up the army within you, the microbiome. I have to mention that. That's your army. And that army is very peaceful unless you have an invader. And then that army wakes up. The weapons of the microbiome army are mass numbers that attack. They don't have weapons. They just attack with their energy. The different microbes in your gut, if you have a foreign invader that they don't recognize, they're going to send their energy in numbers to that foreign and dissolve it and get it out of your body. That's how the biological vessel works. So we hope this message is going to inspire you to look more at the things you're putting in your mouth, to look more at what you're viewing with your eyes in terms of programming to love death more than life and support death more than life. No. We want you to promote life. That's why this boot camp for peace is here, because the world is waking up big time, big time. October 7th was the beginning of a huge awakening to reveal the evil like no time before. You need last words, sweetie?
Well, I was thinking, as you were talking to, as people absorb information, or we'll say in the energy or the low vibration of, which is energy still, of death, which comes through the media, which comes through, I mean, a lot of times, a lot of your movies are, even the cartoons that the kids are watching, full of death, some kind of way, fighting death, destruction. All right. And then we're eating dead foods. Okay. And then if we're thinking dead thoughts that lead to death, then all of that, we have to change that paradigm. As a person, so, we had to put those thoughts and revolutionize our thinking.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
That's perfect
Yes.
ending. Your thoughts are so powerful. And some of you may need to put stickers on your refrigerator to renew your thinking about what is live and what is death. The creator in the scripture, we both love reading scripture, the Bible,
Yeah.
and studying. And the creator says, I set before you life and death.
Yes.
Choose life. Why
Choose
does
life.
he say? So you and your seed can live, right?
All right. Yeah.
So if we're continually choosing death, and even though we're advised to choose life, then we're not going to live, right? That makes sense to
That's
us, right?
That's
And then
right.
the other scripture is I think it's Psalms or discipline is life.
Yes.
It's so hard to be disciplined these days because there is so many processed foods in the in the grocery store, in the gas station, everywhere it's processed foods. So it's very difficult, but if you can be disciplined, there is life in that. So that means eating more live foods.
There you go.
And carrying live emotions of love, compassion, wisdom, joy, and gratitude.
Yes, all of that speaks is peace and life giving.
So we're going to say farewell now, and we wish you safe, peaceful season. December is here. People are getting a little crazy, but that's what happens. And so we just want you to think about what we've said here today and try it out. Try to get more live foods in your diet. And we're going to say, let's see, goodbye with our, let's see. We're going to do our farewell with the cows and the horses and the tiny house living.
Shalom.
Shalom. Peace.